and I'm going to hit record. So we've got that going. Hello, everybody. Is it top of the hour? Yes, it is. I am Kathy Caprino, and I am so honored and thrilled to have with us and talk to the amazing Lorna Byrne. Lorna, you're coming from your home in Ireland right now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Kilkenny and it's getting dark outside. I have the
Wow.
window right next to me, and that's why there's so little light. And it's a very dull day. The sun
Well,
hasn't shined here at all today.
oh, well, you're bringing, I see this, I see the light coming from you, so no
Good, good.
worries. So, everyone, I want to share a little bit about Lorna. Many of you, I think a few hundred, have signed up for this, and we are going to make this readily available to anyone who's interested in Lorna's amazing messages. But I want to share a little bit about Lorna if you don't already know. So, I think you're going to be uncomfortable with this bio, Lorna, but
Okay.
I think you are one of the most remarkable people I've ever met, and in so many ways. But let me share. First of all, Lorna, you're an international #1 best-selling author, right? And your last two books went straight to #1 on the UK Sunday Times list, which is huge. And you have more than 1 million. She has more than 1 million readers at this point. So we know that these are incredible messages you're sharing. And I think it's okay for me to say, because you've said this before, you suffer from dyslexia. So writing these books is no small feat for you, right?
No, and it's because I have to talk all the time. And you might think, I feel now, even at this moment, my voice is not strong. So I don't know how it sounds to you.
Sounds beautiful
But
to me.
good, I'm glad to hear that. But I lost my voice there back, 4 or 5 weeks ago, and the
Yeah.
doctor put me on antibiotics and steroids, and
Yeah.
they nearly killed me. But I got back my voice. I was giving out to God about that all the time, and the angels. Um,
Hmm.
and that's what I have to do. I have to talk into the mic, and it
Yes.
prints out. It's the dragon net I use.
Yes. And I think
So
I
it's
read
a
that
lot of talking.
one of your daughters edited the last book, I think I read,
Yeah,
right?
she did. Yeah.
Let me
So
read those titles. I have read every one of these
okay.
books, and I've even read them multiple times, and listened to the audio of Angels in My
Okay.
Hair over last Christmas. Oh, so Angels in My Hair, Stairways to Heaven, A Message of Hope from the Angels, Love from Heaven, and most recently, Angels in My Finger. Yes, that's right, at my fingertips.
At my fingertips. Yeah.
Secondly, I want to share that Lorna is a peace ambassador. So I've been watching your videos, and you travel all over the world, just to Ethiopia recently, right? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. I went to Ethiopia because I have a foundation called the Lorna Byrne Children Foundation, and it's to help children, really badly disadvantaged children. And I was actually very shocked when I was over there to see how other people live, and how children, they're so happy and yet they have so little. It's so amazing, and seeing them so eager to learn. And one of the things was, I remember standing at, on top of this mountain, and, mountains all around you, and this little school, which was just a hut now, not anything you can imagine. And seeing all the children in the distance, walking across fields, walking, coming out of the trees and heading to school. And I always remember this little boy, he only looked about five,
Mm.
5, 6 years of age. And I watched him come up the mountain because he was down further. And when he got up the mountain, I just seen his little legs and the little pair of welly boots he had on. And the welly boots were split down the back,
Oh,
you know, and yet he was so happy, and he had his little copy in his hand, and his pencil. And he was just so happy to get to school and to join in the fun, and to learn how to write and to read. It was incredible. Like, and I'd hate asking people, will they help? Would they donate? Because I know everyone kind of feels, oh well, those children are so far away, they're not affecting me. But I would love to be able to help children in every single country, even in your country.
Oh,
someday, but I can't do it all on my own.
right, right,
So
right.
I just say if people would just donate even the tiniest little bit, it would be absolutely brilliant.
I love it. And you have said, and so, when I post this, I'll have the link to your foundation and there's a
Okay,
beautiful
okay,
donate now. And you said to
okay.
me earlier, even a penny. So, folks, we're really hoping that whatever you can share, you will. But this is what you said on your site. If we don't help the children of our world, the cost will be incalculable and will be paid for by future generations. And you really want to make a critical difference in the lives of children. And your latest video shows that, It's so
Yeah,
beautiful.
I remember watching it in the Savoy Cinema here in Dublin.
Oh,
I think they call it the premiere or something like that.
oh.
I'm glad I could pronounce that word. But
Perfectly
it
said.
it looked so incredible on a big screen,
You did.
and all the people that were there were just saying it was so emotional and all
I
of that.
cried. Everyone
And
has to watch it. It's so
we
beautiful.
we we just need to help the children, because children everywhere, even here in my own country, they are the future. And I have seen so many wonderful futures, and then I have seen other futures where there's so few children, and where a child is so rare to see that if a child is seen with someone, we stop and stare.
Oh God, how
And
chilling.
that is very, very chilling for us
I
to stop there and say,
that
and it was like for some of the people that stopped and stared never saw a child before. Could you ever imagine never seeing a child in your life?
oh my gosh. That sounds like, the
So
TV show Handmaid's Tale, where it's a futuristic society and women are barren and only a few can have children. So I want to pause this for a minute and talk about the futures you have seen. But before that, I want to share a little more about you so people have a whole context.
okay,
So
okay.
you're a charity founder, a peace ambassador, a best-selling author, but most people probably know Lorna about her ability to see angels and speak with angels and see our guardian angels. And you've done so since you were a baby. So, before we talk about the futures that have been presented to you, and I know you've said some are beautiful and some are horrific, and we have to
Let's not think
learn.
of the ones that are horrific.
What is it? What?
Let's not think of the ones that are
Well,
horrific.
I hear what you're saying, but I do think you will be guided by the angels what you need to say, but I think we need a wake-up call. I'm so afraid, and I don't mean to be political, but in our own country that so many people don't see what we're doing, don't want to see how we're hurting nature, and don't
I
want to see. So
yeah.
tell us, but before you do, can you
Okay.
tell everyone a little bit what everyone seems to want to know is um, tell us a little bit about how you connect with the angels and how other people can connect with their angels, and then we're going to talk about the future.
Yeah, I think that's a huge question now that you've put there. And I always say to everybody, since the moment I opened my eyes, I saw angels. Now I didn't know they were angels. Like, I just thought they were part of the family, because my mom would be bending over my cot fixing me or going down to pick me up. And it was only, again, I know I've said it before, the time when I played on the floor with my little brother and our hands touched. It was like his hand went into mine or mine went into his, and it just made me laugh. And I could feel my little brother's love. And I didn't know at that time that my little brother had died before I was born. And I would say I was only 2 or 2.5. I was very, very young. And it was at that time the angel said that I had to keep it a secret, and that my little brother was a soul, and that he had died as an infant. And it was only really, even then, when the angels had said that to me, I kind of didn't really take much notice of it because he was in my life so much, and but
Wow.
as I got older, I started to realize, well, at times a soul can be an infant, because sometimes he would be an infant in my mom's arms when she was asleep in the chair at the fire, and sometimes when I was a teenager and the first job I got and my mom was with me, I saw him there, like, standing, looking like a young man, and I think that's very important. Angels are real. Your soul is real, and people ask me all of the time, of all religions, and priests ask the same question, and rabbis and imams, and whatever name you, preachers, whatever name you want to give, and they always ask, Lorna, is God real? And I'd be shocked when they ask that question, because he is, because angels are real. I know I can't see your guardian angel now because we're on a screen, but I know if you were here with me, I would see your guardian angel as clear as I would see you.
I want to tell you, Lorna, after I read your first book, I've been able to see some things in life, but certainly not connected like you are. But I want to tell you, in the morning, I'm sure people are going to say I'm crazy. I will look in the mirror and I will see a shadow that's 8 feet tall. And it's always in the same place and it's always here. And I feel it is an angelic presence.
Well, you shouldn't be doubting that. I think that's what's happening in the world. Everyone is hungry and thirsty. We we want to know more. We want to know more about ourselves. We want to know more about the spiritual part of us. We want to connect with each other. We want to connect with nature. We want to change this world. And we're starting to go in search of that. And we have to remember that, what you think is impossible is possible. I always
Hmm.
remember being at different times, different scientists, and they would tell me, Lorna, if a scientist doesn't think that, what's impossible is possible, then they're not a scientist.
Oh
You know,
gosh, that's
and
powerful.
and we have to remember that, just because maybe someone might laugh at you or snigger at you, or like I have people laugh at me and snigger at me, but it doesn't matter if I save someone's life, or I'm helping to change the world for the better. I'm stopping someone committing suicide. I'm helping a father for the first time to realize that his children are precious, that his wife is precious, and not to lose that, to free your soul, the spiritual side of you, all of that love that's there in abundance. We kind of have locked it all away, but yes, the world is, everybody is hungry and thirsty out there, even those who will snigger and laugh at you. They're just afraid.
Can I
And
talk to you about that, Lorna? I've told a lot of people, our discussions and your books. And I was out with a group of friends the other day, and one is an atheist, and the other doesn't know, what he believes. But I saw when I was sharing about you that while there was skepticism, there was also deep fear. The eyes got very huge, and the energy was, what makes you think that that's true?
yeah,
What
but
I want to say, what I want to ask is, when people bring that skepticism, what do you think that's about? Why are they so
I
skeptical?
I think that is really about they're in hope that it is true. I think that's why their eyes go big. That's why they go defensive. And it is the fear. It is the fear of the possibility. What if this is true?
Yeah. And
You
what is
know,
so scary to people about that?
I think it's so scary to people because for generations, thousands of years, we've been told, only what is solid is real. We're told that the impossible is impossible in that way. And your friends who would have the big eyes and the fear and the anxiety, they're hoping really that that message is true.
And do
And
you
all
think
I can
too,
say it is.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. I think also, even if we're not religious, I would say I'm a spiritual person, not a religious person. We have been trained for many eons
Yeah,
that we, as peons, as humans, and your talk about a soul, an angel coming to us, and people will say, they think that the angels are the highest beings, and you're saying no, it's the human
No,
soul,
it's the
right?
human soul, and
But we've
because
been trained that we're nothing and that we really can't connect to the divine because we are
why
not worthy. Yeah.
why do you think your guardian angel is with you every second of your life and never leaves you and loves you unconditionally? Because it is because of your soul. You are more than any angel ever possibly could be. Um, and God has given you a guardian angel as a gift. You and your soul, yourself, your soul, before you were even conceived, met
So
and
beautiful.
came together. And you will leave this world together. But you live. It's only your human body that dies.
So a lot of people, if you even look at our last video that has 40,000 views, Lorna, and a lot of people made
Wow.
beautiful comments, but a lot of people had questions and
Oh, I'd
challenges.
say
Of
so.
course. I
Yeah.
mean, we're not here to just, you know, we're here to stir up and get people thinking, right? But many people say, why I don't believe you, Lorna or Kathy,
Mhm.
is that if this were true, it would be a more beautiful world. People wouldn't be murdered. People wouldn't be raped.
Yes.
Tell us,
Yes. And
what the angels have told
and
you about
and and that is the biggest question. And it all comes down to, I give a little more information in every book, because I know if I gave it all in one book, it would be too much. People would have just thrown it away,
that. Wow,
and it would have died. That would have been it. But
really?
you have to remember that your soul is that speck of light of God, and we have all of those questions. And just think about it. God fell in love with us. I don't know when he fell in love with us. I think that was the most incredible miracle. Like, what were we like way back then? I couldn't imagine. And he fell in love with us and decided, out of all of creation, that he would give this tiny spark, speck of light of himself, which is our soul. And it is so tiny, but yet it fills every part of our human body. But again, for some reason, he didn't want to interfere with with our human life, with the human side of us, and he gave us that thing of free will. And we all the time say, why, was there a car crash? Why, was there a war? Why did somebody murder my child? Or why did, my child get sick, or my husband get sick and die? And but we have to remember, our human body, from the moment it's born, it lives, but it has to die as well at some stage. And that's the part I think we question. Why we have to die, why we have to get sick, why do we kill each other, why do we starve our children in the world, why do we snigger and laugh, why do we hate another person because of their religion or because of what they believe in, why do we pollute our planet? There is so much. But the thing is, we don't have to do any of those things. We actually have the choice. And I suppose, in God getting me, which is incredible, to start to write when I couldn't read or write anyway, you know, and people starting to listen and giving the messages. I believe it is changing things, and it may be just changing things in small ways. If it's changing someone's heart, if it's helping someone that, maybe in a war-torn area. And I have heard from people in war-torn areas where they would have explained horrific things happening, seeing family murdered, their bodies carrying their dead child in their arms. And they would say, because I came across your book, I can't hate. I can't hate who has done this,
Wow.
because I feel more love. I don't want this to happen to another parent. I don't want
How
another
beautiful.
parent to lose a child because of that.
I
You
want to
know,
can I talk about that for a
yeah.
minute, Lorna? I mentioned earlier before we were live When you say in your books and your videos, "I love you even
Yes,
though I don't know you," I am so filled with love, and I said, I mean, palpably, I feel loved the way a person who loves me from my childhood is sitting here. How I wanna talk about that.
that is very hard for me to talk about in one way because it's very hard even for me to understand it. I love everyone, regardless of whether they're good or bad in people's eyes, or even if there's someone that has, dropped a bomb somewhere, or you know what I mean, in that
Mm.
way, I still love them. I
And
love
what does that
everyone.
feel like to you?
I feel, how can I describe it? It's like every time I say it, my love goes out into the world. I would even
Oh,
hear people say they could feel my love at a certain time when they needed it. I just put it out there. I don't know how to explain it. It's like my soul goes forward. It's like my soul goes out into the world and pours that love out. And the world needs love at the moment. I meet people of all ages and even children who would tell me no one has ever loved them, no one has ever hugged them, and we need love. I love everyone, and I don't care who you are, and I don't even know you, and I love you. And I always say, remember that if you feel no one loves you in the world, please know I love you even though I don't know you.
I don't know. I that just slays me, Lorna,
Oh,
because I said to a friend, you resonate energetically differently than other human beings. I mean, that's why I so believe in your messages, because when you say that, you can palpably feel the love coming from your heart, and I think it's because of who you are. Oh, all right.
no,
So
I'm only me.
don't say it. I know just what you mean, and that's why we love you even more, because there are so many people that have gifts, but they haven't healed enough to be pure in the giving of their gifts. Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I suppose it makes sense in one way, but every human being has a huge amount of gifts. It's just that we haven't released the spiritual side of ourselves. It's just that we haven't accepted really that we have a soul, or accepted God, or accepted that we have a guardian angel, and God is pouring millions of angels down onto our world today. And I call them the unemployed angels.
Love it.
In bucketfuls, they just tumble down to the earth non-stop, and the world needs them. We need love in the world today. Imagine, I think I have written about it somewhere in the books. I forget even what I have
Of
written.
course.
If you could see my soul, and you went out in the street and you could see everyone else's soul, and you could see their guardian angel, you wouldn't harm that person. If that person went to fall or anything like that, you would be over there like a shot, with compassion and love, to heal the cut on their knee. It could be anything so simple. Um, and I think that's what we're searching for. We're searching for that compassion. We're searching for that hope. We're searching for that peace within our own hearts. You know, and we have to release that. And your guardian angel is there helping you. um, God is real, and I just say, why wait until the moment when your human body dies to discover your guardian angel is real, to discover you have a soul and God is real? Like, why should you don't
Really.
have to you don't have to wait,
Oh,
you
so
know.
beautiful. So I know we're here talking about the future of the world, and we'll get to that. But the other question so many people ask of you, I see it on the video we did. Okay, I want to believe, but I don't see any signs. And your angels at my fingertips talks about feathers. And I want to tell you, I
Mm,
put the book down and I'm seeing feathers everywhere. Birds are stopping and chirping at me. Feathers are
well,
everywhere. And they still appear, especially when I'm having a troubled time. There will be a beautiful white feather. I'm like, thank you. I know. So, can you give a few tips for the people desperate to see or feel or hear their guardian angel, but they feel they cannot?
I got I don't know whether it came in on the prayer scroll or it was a letter, but I got this letter from a lady who said, you know, what you were just after saying there, you know, they want to believe, but she never got a sign, and she decided, okay, I'll ask once more, and she started to see feathers, and she just kind of really was in doubt still,
Right.
even though she was getting the evidence. And then one day something extraordinary happened. I'm trying to remember now. It was that she went somewhere, okay, and I think she was off sightseeing, and there was a gardener there, or somebody was there, and what do you think happened? A dove landed on her head, and she
What?
said, "Oh, got a multitude of feathers." You know, what what more do you want? It's like that we are given signs all of the time, but adults question them, they doubt them, they want the sign to happen in a certain way.
Right.
And I think it is just to make yourself aware that you notice. And feathers are one of the most common that you're given. But it could be a phone call you get.
Yeah.
And just think about it. Maybe the phone call you get is from someone that you haven't spoken to in a long, long time. And at times it was on your mind. Maybe you could mend the bridge. Maybe you could forgive, you know, in that way. Or sometimes, again, you know, it can be just even a smile from someone. You notice the smile, or someone has been kind to you today, and you could have asked for that kind of sign, for someone to show me a little kindness.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
and it's probably happening over and over again, but you're not accepting it.
Right. And I think
um,
I would just love to add, let go of the skepticism. The skepticism is a
yeah,
wall. You have a dove
it is.
land on your
It's a
head and you
barrier.
you skeptically say, well,
Yeah,
that was because no, these are
it
signs. These are ways
yeah.
the divine world is support.
Yeah, it's you know, take down those barriers.
Right.
Children don't question.
Right.
When a young child is just a young child, and they've just come from heaven, and maybe they're 2 or 3 years of age, or 4, and you know, they're sitting on the floor playing, or they're out in the sunshine, and they run over to mommy or daddy, or even to a stranger, and they say something to them. That was because the guardian angel told them, and they just do it. Children don't say, well, why do I have to say, you know, such and such, or why do I have to pick this little daisy and hand it to that woman sitting on the bench, you know, or why do I have to do that for the elderly person? Where a child will actually go up to someone and actually give them a hug. I've seen it loads of
Oh,
times, but
beautiful.
yet seeing the adult not acknowledging it, you know. So
Wow.
in a sense, get rid of your, I can't pronounce the word,
Yeah, the skepticism.
skepticism.
That's
Get rid of it, and say to yourself, you know, what have I got to lose?
right.
And you have nothing to lose whatsoever, just to discover for yourself,
Oh,
and to
how
discover
beautiful.
all the signs that are being given to you, and discover, you know, when you did something and you knew in the end it was the wrong thing to do, and it crosses your mind as well that, you know, I was being told not to do that, but I ignored it.
Oh,
And it's the good
I
thing
can
that I
relate.
always say to people, give yourself a little pinch and say next time, because not everything has a meaning. Your guardian angel is actually teaching you. Like even for me to move my glass of water, you know, if my guardian angel told me to do that, I would just do it. But lots of people wouldn't. They would say, well, what is in the meaning? Why is that thought coming in to move my glass?
Yeah.
But they're just teaching you to respond. That is all. It's like your guardian angel is teaching you, the soul of your loved one, even,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, to put your foot on the brake, to slow down the car. But you're seeing the road clear ahead of you, and you're ignoring it because that's ridiculous. You're saying to yourself, why should I? I would say, put your foot on the brake and slow down the car.
Oh my gosh.
because
So,
then nothing may happen.
yeah. And you
But who
listened.
wants anything to happen?
We
But
love it.
people want things to happen. And
They want proof. They want evidence.
yeah,
Oh,
but you don't want to end up in a car crash or be the cause of one and someone else getting hurt. And that's why you were being told to slow down, or a small animal was going to cross the road. So when you would get there, it would already be gone because you slow down. So we just over question and we don't interact enough.
so right. One more thing, and I mentioned this to you, and maybe it's helpful. I wanted to show everybody. Again, I'm
Okay.
not religious. I grew up Greek Orthodox and kind of rejected that. But my dad, beloved dad, who passed away 3 years ago, we were going through his things, and I found this cross, and it said he wore it in World War II, and it said, "I am a Catholic. Please call a priest for if he were dead on the battlefield." I want to tell you, I keep this close to me at all times. And in the mornings, in my makeup routine, it's in my bag. I hold it. And when I really need help, I'll say, "Dad,
Yeah.
I need some help." And I swear, and I don't doubt, I'm not skeptical. I feel him. I feel the presence. I feel the love. I feel the guidance. So many people, while you're talking about angels, they will want to hear more about, "I lost my husband. I lost my child, and I so want to experience their soul." Can you talk about that for a
Well,
minute?
yeah, the thing is, you haven't really lost them. You haven't lost them, and I think that's something every parent, every adult needs to remember. Like my husband Joe, he died, you know, but I wouldn't want him here now because I wouldn't want him here suffering in his human body. I wouldn't want him to be like a vegetable
Yeah.
in that way. But the soul of your loved one is in and around you every time you think of them. You may not feel them, or you may not smell them, or you may not recognize anything, but they're right there.
Wow.
And sometimes when you do feel their presence, or something happens, like the way you found your father's cross, that's a sign. That was your father telling you, "I'll always be with you."
So beautiful.
But I think our minds are closed that way because we have been told, for centuries, that's not true. You're not to even think of a loved one that has died. You're not even to think of your child that has died. I heard from this beautiful woman. I was giving a talk. What country was I in? I actually can't remember what country I was in,
Sure. You've been in
but
so many.
she was a lady in her, I think, 80s,
Wow.
and she came early, and I had gone into the hall to have a look, and she was standing at the back, and she grabs a hold of my arm and she says, "Lorna, I just need to know." And I said, "What is it?" And her guardian angel just had its arms right around her. And she said, "I want to know, is my little son in heaven?" And I was told straight away, "Yes, he is." And I said to her, "Why do you say that? Why do you think he's not there?" And she said, "Because I was told
Mm.
that my little son, my baby, was in hell." And I said, "Who told you that?" And she said, "I hate to say it, but the Catholic Church,
Oh, good Lord.
because she had her son out of side marriage. And her little son, her baby, died shortly after birth. And she said, "I was told I would go to hell as well."
Oh,
And I said
gosh.
to her, "No, you won't. You have a radiant soul, and you have such love. There's no way, and you will meet your son when you do go home to heaven." And I think it's because we've been told all of these things, and it has been brainwashed into us. I see the souls of loved ones around people all of the time. They come and go, and just say one day you felt the presence of your dad, and hours later you were still feeling the presence of your dad. Um, but for your dad, that's like only a moment.
Yeah.
That's why I say they come and go in that way. But for you, it's like their essence remains. It's
Yeah.
hard to explain. And it's the guardian angel again that allows the soul of your loved one in and around you. And it does that because God has said so. Your guardian
I have so
angel
many
can't do
questions.
anything.
Why is, here's
There
my
is.
two
Yeah.
questions, Lorna. First of all,
Okay.
why are we so clueless? We've been on the planet for so long. Oh, someone's saying that, that's not even a teaching of the Roman Catholic Church. Uh-huh. Uh, Two things I want to know. You don't believe in the existence of hell, do you?
I know hell does exist in the sense of, and the only way I can say it is God introduced me to the other side. I've said it in one of the
Right.
books.
You saw the
Uh,
darkness coming
yeah.
to you.
Um, but God has never shown me, and I always try to make this clear to people, He's never shown me Him sending any soul to that place we call hell. So I don't believe any of us go there. I believe, I have to smile, He loves us all. And you have to remember, no matter what you think of someone else, you don't know that at that moment of death, remember, at that moment of death, they see their guardian angel, they know God is real, they see their own soul, and you don't know that at that moment of death that they haven't asked for forgiveness or haven't said, God, I'm sorry. I know when my human body dies, I'll still say, God, I'm sorry, because I know I'm not perfect, and all as we can do is do our best. So I hope that has answered
That's
it.
why I know that you're right. I remember, and I don't want to make this about me, but I would be in church as a little child, Lorna, and I would hear what they were saying that God said. And I would say, as a little child, I would say, no God would say that. No,
Well,
no
a lot,
God
a
that was
lot
a
of,
loving God would
yeah.
do that. And I feel like we've been taught all the wrong things. Why are we so clueless? Why do so many of us, millions
I
of us, not
I don't
understand?
I don't know. I was always asked the question, why, what about purgatory and all of that? And I have said to people, well, God has never shown me purgatory, so I don't believe it exists. And then only in the last year, would you believe this? A parish priest came to one of my talks, and afterwards he said, Lorna, you're actually correct. There is no such place as purgatory. It was only a thing that the Catholic Church did to, um, what would you say, bring in money for penance and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
make people
It,
afraid.
it's not actually in the Bible, but it is something that the Catholic Church did bring in
Oh boy.
in that way. Um, and I just have to smile because God never showed me purgatory, so I couldn't answer the question for the people. I had to be honest, say, God has never shown me purgatory, and if He hasn't, I don't believe it exists.
Beautiful. So someone's asked, and folks, put in the chat room a question, and if I can answer it, and if it
Mhm.
works into this discussion, I will. So, people have signed up for this because we talked about the future of the world.
Right.
This person's asking about the apocalypse. So I'm going to ask you, the angels will guide you, but if there's harsh things for us to see that we're heading towards, I think we need to hear that. Can you talk
I
about it?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of harsh things, but we have to remember we're the cause of them, and we can change that. We can. That's one reason why I ask all of the time for people to pray for the leaders of the world, and for their hearts to be touched, for them to make the right decisions for them, because they're making the decisions for you and me, for everybody. For them to think morally in that way. Um, and we all have to stand up and be counted. We have to speak up. If your country is asking you to go out to vote for something, you have to go out and vote for it. The world is changing rapidly. And a lot of the time, the people in the world, that's you and me and everybody in every single country, we think we have no power, but we have power. And our governments and our leaders, our presidents, they're stuck at the moment. And you see that evidence all of the time. So we have to help. We can't sit back and say, well, our government will sort it out. you know, the president will sort it out. We have to give a helping hand because they are lost. And one way we can is pray for them. Because I've got into trouble for saying pray for particular leaders, and I'd be told, but they're killers. They have done horrific things. Why would you pray for them? But you have to, so that maybe they will listen. What hope have we got if they don't listen? To change things.
So,
And I
Lorna,
believe we can change the future. I believe we can make
s-
those right turns.
so
Uh,
I'm going to push you, and if
yeah,
the angels say
okay,
no, then don't. But
okay.
have you seen a vision of the world where we destroy it completely?
I have seen a vision of the world where I wouldn't say we destroy it completely. Um, how could I say it? It is horrific. It's deathless. Is that a word? Deathless? I'm not
Desolate,
sure.
barren, nothing there.
Barren, food doesn't grow,
Yeah. Mm.
um, there
So
is no trees,
you
there is
see it
no,
more
it,
about what we've done to the planet.
it is what we have done. It's what we actually cause.
Yeah.
And war can cause that in the blink of an eye.
God.
Don't forget that. It can cause that in the blink of an eye. Um, but then I have seen beautiful futures where the people of the world, become more open, maybe have more faith and say, you know, let's pray, let's help our leaders. Let us say, stand up and be counted and say that's wrong. We can't destroy, or we can't kill. We have to save. And that goes not just for human beings, but it goes for all of nature on our planet.
So if
And
you
I have seen where, we make this world like a little glimpse of heaven. And to me, that is incredible. That's why, to me, there is great hope there. I believe in everyone. And I love you. I love you. And that's what you have to remember. I believe so much in you. I love you so much. And I know we can do it. So I won't give up. It's like I was shown a scene. God does things in funny ways. He had me bring millions of people up onto this mountain.
this was the scene you saw in your
Yes,
mind, yeah.
yeah, up onto this mountain, and part of it turned into a cliff, and all of a sudden this man, and it was a man, not a woman, started to fall, and I rushed forward because I loved him regardless. I loved everyone. And the people shouted, no, don't bother, save him, Lorna, because he has done atrocities. But my love for him couldn't stop me from not helping him. And I reached out and I caught him by the hand. I had to save him. And I have such great hope for us. I believe we can do it. And I believe part of becoming aware spiritually of ourselves, that inner child, sometimes we call it, our soul, and releasing that love, having compassion and hope, and reaching out and helping others, and forgiving. Doesn't mean you forget, but we have to forgive and we have to move forward. We can't be saying, well, in the past, your country did this to my people, so I have to kill you and destroy you. We need each other. We need nature. Let's all love each other. And that's what God has spoken of, is love. And lots of people like to look at the Old Testament. And I always say, I think I've written it in one of the books, and the angels were saying, go and say it. And I'm saying, I'll get myself into trouble. The Old Testament, in one sense, is like the old God, and the new God was Jesus, bringing us hope, bringing it to everyone. He didn't, and you have to remember, he was a Jew. He didn't say, my father belongs only to me. He said his father belongs to us all. And God now understands so much of us now. And again, that's why I believe he got me to do what I'm doing, and I'm uneducated. I'm dyslexic very, very badly. Um, and why me? Why not someone else? Why not someone in power? That's what I give out to God and the angels about all the time. I would say I'd be able to do so much more. I would have more influence. But I think it is, in a sense, I'm just the beacon. It's up to you, all the people of the world, every man, woman, and child. All of you are, it's about all of you. It's not about me. You
Yeah.
are the important ones. And
Oh,
yeah,
I don't
that's
quite see it that
it.
way. I think, can I share? If you are in power, power corrupts.
Well,
You are making a difference to 10 million people by the example that you are, you know.
but I think everyone can be a great example, and I think the angels and God has moved our hearts many, many times. But in a sense, with different things that happen in the world, that all of a sudden we feel pain and hurt for others, but after a while we let that go and we say, it's okay, I can go back to my old self. And the thing is, it's about not going back to the old self. It's like when
Mm.
the soldier picked up the body of the little child out of the sea. Everyone's heart was moved. Everybody wanted to do something. But after a while, nobody really wanted to do much. It's only a few. So it's to
So
hold
if
on to it and not go backwards.
oh, so good. If if the angels could tell us the one thing we need to do differently for our world to really change. I mean, let me just say this. I think many of us listen to you, and in the moment that we're listening, we know that it is truth.
Yeah.
But then we go out in the world and our bosses are beating us up and we don't have enough money and the neighbor makes us crazy and we
Well,
are not in that place that you
place. Yeah.
are. So what
Mhm.
do the angels say the one thing if we could just do this the world would change?
Well,
What would
the
that be?
one thing they always say to me, and that is love, compassion, and hope. And
There you
and
go.
and it is that simple. And people are expecting something
Right.
completely different. And it is the simple. What word are they putting into my mouth now? And see, can I pronounce it? Virtues.
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 Love, compassion, hope, empathy,
Yeah, all
truth.
all of those truth. We have lost so much of that, and children have lost so much of that, and and children are lost as well in the world today. There, huge amount of them are bored, they're fed up. There's nothing to do, but we have made them like that. We don't let children go out into nature. Like I always remember when my little girl was small here in the house, and she had a friend over, and they actually made mud pies because we've the fields here, just behind us, and they were in the trees, and her friend said, my mum and dad have murdered for me making mud pies. I'm not allowed to get myself dirty. Children should be allowed to go out into nature. They should be allowed to play with the insects, get to know them, get to know about the way they live. They should be able to put their hands into the soil. They should be able to do everything, climb a tree, crawl through the hedge, do the simple things. See nature wild, not nature in a zoo or not nature in a park, to come across it. Um, but they're not allowed
No.
to do that
Can I
anymore.
add one more thing? I'd love your thoughts. I have been a trained marriage and family therapist, and now I'm a coach and I work with women. And I think that there's an epidemic in our world today that is destroying the well being of people, and this is it. So many parents think they're doing the right thing, pressuring the children to get straight A's and do beautifully. And the problem is they withhold their love from the children.
They do. They
You
withhold.
feel that?
Yeah, they keep back their love, and the
Keep back their
child,
love.
their child thinks they're not loved because their child thinks only, I'll only be loved if I get good grades. Um, Listen, I'm not educated, and look what I'm doing. I have met, you know, young women and young men that, are in college, and they would say, Lorna, I have learning difficulties. They'd say they're dyslexic and they're not as bright as other children, or they're not dyslexic, but they'd feel they're not as bright. But they would say, Lorna, if you can do it, I can do it.
Mm,
You know, Not every child is to go to college because, the child that is to discover about nature, can be the child that solves the problems of all of the pollution and that's happening in our world. Like you know about the sea, it's full of plastic. We heard about the plastic whale. I
yeah,
don't know if you heard of it.
yeah,
Now you eat fish, but even in the cod, even in the whitefish, and all the fish you eat now, there's plastic in their flesh, and you don't even know it, and you're feeding it to your children. We can change all of that. It's not too late, and that's one thing the angels say. It's not too late, and maybe this is why God has me doing what I'm doing. Because at times I often say, like, why didn't He have me doing this when I was younger? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because then I'd be here longer doing it.
What do they say?
Why did just doesn't answer me? Why did
Because
he
you,
wait till now? But I think now is the right time
yeah.
for people to listen. It's giving people hope that we can change our world, and I believe we can. I believe we can make this world like a little glimpse of heaven.
Oh, Lorna, it's so
I
beautiful.
believe we can do that. And I think it's just so important for every parent to say to their child, remember you have a guardian angel that's right there with you all of the time, and you can share your secrets with it. But don't forget to share your secrets as well with me. And I suppose again, parents have lost, they don't sit down and chat. And you have to start sitting and listening to your child from the time it starts to talk.
And
Um,
really listening, not
Yeah, not being
instructing.
on your not
Listen.
being on your phone or doing other things,
Yeah,
but getting into conversation with your child. Because again, we have so many children all over the world that commit suicide, and children shouldn't be doing that. That
yeah,
that shouldn't be happening. And most of the time, it is because they feel they're not loved, and when they're trying to tell their mom and dad or somebody, nobody is listening. So they're bored, and you can see it in their eyes. I see it in their eyes, young people's eyes, all the time. Sometimes when I'm doing a book signing, or I'm giving a talk, and then I'm doing the blessing, and I'm blessing a or even an older person, and you see it in their eyes. And I
yeah.
just pray and ask God, please give them the strength that they don't do it, because each and every one of us are needed. We all need each other, and that's something very precious to remember.
Oh, Lorna, it's so beautiful. I want to ask you this, and I want to be respectful. I think we have 7 minutes, and I'm seeing
Okay.
questions come in, Lorna. Can I
Okay.
read some of them that I feel like would
All
be
right.
very
Yeah.
helpful? And we'll see. All right, let's see what we got. Ah, uh, here's one. You speak of visions. Are these visions going to happen, or are they just warnings?
I think you have to remember, sometimes when I'm shown something, I'm shown so many wonderful futures,
Yeah,
incredible. Um, and I believe all of those wonderful futures can come together as one. That's the way I always say it. I'm showing some bad futures as well. But I don't believe that they all come together.
yeah,
I believe if a bad future can happen in among all of the good, that's okay, because I know we'll get through it.
I understand. So it's not a warning, it's a vision of the potentiality,
It is.
and a shift in consciousness can change it. Yeah?
Yeah, we can change things. It's like, when we change the way a river flows,
Yeah.
or, we guide the cattle down the field, through a particular gate. We're showing them the way, so I think that's what visions are in that sense. When God shows me something, when I'm there in that time, or I'm just standing somewhere and he just pulls that veil across, and I see the future. But I do believe they can be changed.
Oh, how beautiful.
Mm.
People are asking, please ask Lorna how a person begins their quest to look for guardian angels. I'm going to say, folks, read Lorna's books. It's all there.
I think that is the important thing. Just start to read and discover for yourself.
Yeah, it's all there. And watch her videos. She explains it incredibly clearly. Um, let's see what else we have. When will God allow you to show us what angels look like via a drawing or a painting?
He hasn't actually, and loads of people ask that question.
Yeah.
And I know I used to draw as a child and paint, and I loved it, but he hasn't given me the time to do so. But I don't believe I could ever draw the beauty of an angel or the beauty of a human soul, because the human soul is billions of times more beautiful than an angel.
Do you think if I saw my angel and souls, it would be the same way you see them?
I think so. I think partly in the sense, I think it would depend on what the angel wants you to see,
Mm,
and how much of a human appearance it's given. But it is that light. That light is the radiant beauty. And I don't think you could draw it or paint it. I think you would just put light around,
yeah,
but it wouldn't
right.
be really showing that incredibleness, that beauty as
Yeah.
such. Um, I often give out to God and say, like, why can't I take a picture of an angel? He's never allowed me.
You know,
So, and I
I
wish he would. I do ask God and the angels, would you please allow, even one angel to appear in the sky for everyone in the world to see? I do ask for that all of the time. But you have to remember, people
wow.
often see angels at
Yeah.
different times. You would often hear people that might be in hospital or really ill, and they would say, the angel was at the end of my bed. I could see an angel, or the soul of a loved one, and they were telling me, "No, you're not. You're not going to die. You're to stay here." You know, and
I think I said this last time. My dad was a scientist and didn't believe in anything after death. And he died of cancer. And at the last day, he was looking up saying, "Oh, oh." And it was
of
his
course it was.
mother and his brothers. And, so
He saw them because his
they were
guardian
there.
angel was already lifting his soul from his
Right,
human body.
right. Oh,
And you have to
uh,
remember, it's only a human body that dies. You don't die.
and I just want to share this if it makes sense. I think maybe we're not seeing a literal interpretation on paper because it's not literal. It's what your heart sees. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you were
yeah,
to paint what it looks like to you, everyone will be looking for what that looks like.
yeah, and you
Is
don't
that
want that,
right?
because no angel looks alike.
Right. Oh,
They're all completely different and all so beautiful. And yet, an archangel, it's an archangel. And I don't know how to describe that. Or the guardian angel, they're guardian angels. They're not any other kind of angel. They're guardian angels.
how fortunate.
Sometimes,
Blessed you are to even know that.
okay.
We're going to have to take your word for it. And so, one more question. A
Okay.
person says, when we're in heaven, what do we do for eternity? We'll end with that. Let's hear.
Um, the only thing I can say to you is give you a short experience of myself being in heaven when God has taken my soul there. Um, there is so much love, so much peace. there is no words for it, and you don't want to come back. Um, there's your there's no such word as boredom. There's all that question has asked, what do we do? Are we bored and all of that? No, you're not.
No,
You're not.
that's a human experience. That's
That's
not the soul.
everybody is just looking on it from the human side. But when your soul goes there, all as I can say, it's incredible. There
I,
is no
I
such
feel
thing
like
as thoughts.
what I would love to leave people with is I believe that we can connect with our soul today and stop
Oh,
looking at everything from those human eyes. I feel like we can feel what you're talking about more, maybe a tiny sliver glimpse.
I would
Do
just
you
say,
think so?
give yourself a chance. Have faith. It's like, if you have faith, you can walk across that water. If it's a life and death thing, some people would often say, I had faith and I knew I would make it.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking at them, even rescue workers saying, but how did they do it? It was because they had faith.
That's so
They were
beautiful.
shown how to do it, they were given the strength to do it, and they didn't doubt. So faith plays an awful lot in our belief, in believing that we have a soul, a guardian angel, and that there's that spiritual side of us, and God is real, that we're not just human beings, we're a spiritual being as well.
On that note, Lorna, thank you so much. Can people
Yeah.
learn where they can learn more about you? Would that be lornabyrne.com?
Yeah, and there's a Facebook. I'm not very good at giving out that
All
information.
right, everybody, I will
Yeah,
link to all of
and the
Lorna's
books.
info.
Yeah.
And I would say this, please donate if you can. If this has been helpful to you, if you feel more hope and love and compassion, Lorna's charity is so beautiful. You can watch the video. I'll give you links to all of that, but find it in your heart to donate to her beautiful children's foundation. I know I saw how, weren't you responsible for helping water come, fresh water? Was that
Oh,
some of
yeah,
what you've been
yeah.
doing?
That was one of the things we were able to do for a village, for a school,
So
and
beautiful.
for the health center. And it was great to see, the children, the young people able to wash their face and hands and
I watched it
drink
coming out
water
of the
to
spigot,
drink.
and
Yeah,
you
like,
made me appreciate running water that day. I mean, the next day I forget so much. I even looked at it like, oh, because so many are
water
drinking
is,
poisoned water, and this,
yeah, and water is so precious, and we run water over our hands, and we don't realize what a luxury we have,
it right.
because when I was there, you couldn't wash your hands because there was no water to wash your hands. So your hands were all, you were getting used to the sticky, wet hands. You were getting used to your body being the way it was. But then when you got back and there was some water and you could run it over your hands, wow, you could really feel
The
I don't know
bliss.
how to describe
I
that,
can
the
imagine.
wonder
Oh,
of this water.
oh, well, I certainly appreciate it. Lorna, I can't thank you enough. I know how tiring it is, how you have to rest your voice. Thank you for sharing. I
Thank
will put this on YouTube, and folks, share widely. I know that, Lorna, I feel that your very existence makes such a difference in our world. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And remember, your existence makes a difference in the world, and so does everyone out there. Everyone out there is more important than I am. I'm nothing. You are the important ones.
Oh, Lorna,
I love you
that's
lots.
not true, but love you. Love you. And I can't wait to
God
see you when
bless.
you come to the US. I'll be there in the audience.
Okay, I haven't looked that far ahead yet.
I know. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Love to
God
you.
bless you.
Bye,
God
everyone.
bless you.
Thank
God
you so
bless you, everybody.
much. Bye bye
God
now.
bless. Bye bye.